We will not be held responsible for any hearing impairments or damage caused to you from excessive exposure to this sound.
Hey CJ, remember that one time?
Oh yeah, it was fucking epic.
You're listening to
Remember That One Time,
the Inappropriate Storytime Podcast.
and these are not your mama's fairy tales.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Nope, restart.
That's funny.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is Remember That One Time with your hosts, Chris.
And CJ.
And today, it is not what it sounds like, and it's not what you think it is. We've had some technology bamboozlements, is a word now, with some autocorrect fails, and mostly we're going over our own brain has bamboozled us when, see, we grew up in a time, in an era, where if you wanted to know the lyrics of a song, you couldn't pull up an app, you couldn't just Shazam it, you couldn't pull it up on the internet, you had to have the liner notes of the CD or the cassette that it came with to figure out those lyrics if the band was gracious enough to have included the lyrics in there.
And if they weren't, then you spent your entire life singing out the entirely wrong lyrics.
Yes, that just becomes what it is in your brain. And it doesn't matter how many times somebody will tell you that's not what they're saying. As soon as it comes on, it's just natural muscle memory. That's what you're saying anyways.
Yes.
Regardless. And so that's what happened. We're going to have to go over some misheard lyrics that either we've misheard ourselves and have been convinced erroneously, or friends or family, we have heard them and we had to turn off the radio, stop the car, pull over, and be like, what the fuck did you just say? Because that was not right. However, it was the best thing I've ever heard.
Yes.
So I guess I'll go ahead and get mine out of the way. The first two are actually from my mother. One was when she was like a teenager or a child. She used to be a cheerleader back in the day. And that was around the same time that the Rolling Stones were, I don't want to say the peak of their popularity, because that was probably the 60s and she wasn't born until 69. So it was in the 70s and they were pretty popular, and they had come out with Beast of Burden, but her entire cheer squad, instead of Beast of Burden, they were all singing My Pizza's Burnin'.
What?
Yeah.
How an entire cheerleading squad? How did nobody catch that?
I guess because when you're 16, you don't know what the phrase oh, I don't want to be your beast of burden. That's not a phrase that you hear at 16 ever.
It's not a phrase you hear at any age.
Exactly. It's just not a popular phrase. However, when you're 16, the phrase my pizza's burnin' is a hell of a lot more likely to have crossed your path.
And if she was 20 years younger, it would have been my pizza rolls are burning.
Exactly. But no, and the way the rest of the lyrics go, it wouldn't make sense either. It was don't want to be your beast of burden, but it was don't want to say my pizza's burning. I don't know. It was weird. And
I don't want to say my pizza's burning either.
Right? So now every time you hear it, that's what you're going to hear. You're welcome. And when I was a teenager, I was in the car with her. We were going shopping or something, and Def Leppard's Photograph had come on, and we're both jamming. We had recently gone and seen them live for my 16th birthday. CJ was there. We've been over that complete disaster. And so we were jamming to Def Leppard, and she comes out with, the way the lyrics are, it says, passion killer, you're too much, you're the only thing I want to touch. But she said bison killer instead of passion killer. And I'm like, Mom, how many bison have you seen in the UK? These boys are British. And she was like, well, they killed all the bison. That's why there's no bison.
Look that up right now. I want to know if there are bison in the UK.
I don't
Looking it
think
up right
there
now.
are. Do it. Research. This is what the internet's made for. So, yeah. What? Please tell me it has something to do with this.
I literally typed into Google, are there bison in the UK? And the first thing that pops up, it says there are only 124 in Britain.
That's it.
124. How did what? 124. That's it.
Yeah.
And they know, like, down to, like, it's not
It's a small country.
It's
They're
not
big
an
animals.
average, like, they're
Oh, like
average
approximately
10,000.
120.
There's exactly 124 in Britain.
Well, it's a very small island, and they're very big creatures. I'm sure you could probably hover over with what do you call it? A helicopter and just count them.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they're not like sheep. So anyways, yes, bison killer, because Def Leppard has killed all but 124 of the bison in the UK, apparently.
Right.
Yes. See, moving on to mine, I've got quite a few of them, but the only one that comes to my mind right now when I think about it, there's one that I mislabeled. So here's a technology fail. I was back in the day, I was a pirate and I stole a lot of music on LimeWire like everyone else did.
Yes.
So don't even lie to yourself and tell me that you did not, because you did. Everyone did. None of that shit was ever labeled correctly. So it would say something completely off and you're like, what is this? So you have to go, after you've downloaded it, you have to go through your iTunes or whatever and relabel what everything is. Well, I was doing that, and as I was listening to the song, it was, the song is Joy to the World. It's a Three Dog Night song from the 70s. And the first part of it is, Jeremiah was a bullfrog. He was a good friend of mine. And I'm typing the name of the song while I'm listening to it, and totally didn't catch it until like 6 years later as I'm scrolling through my iPod, and it says Joy to the Frog instead of Joy to the World, because the first part was Jeremiah was a bullfrog. So
is that a Christmas tune I've never heard of?
Right?
Joy to the Frog.
So, yes, that song is now titled Joy to the Frog.
I like it.
Yes, that, and there is a Fall Out Boy song called Thanks for the Memories. I don't know if you're familiar with it. Probably not, because I don't think Fall Out Boy is your thing.
Thank you very much. My very first iPod that held 124 songs, it was on there.
Gotcha. Okay, so Thanks for the Memories. You've got Thanks for the Memories, even though they weren't so great. So you've got Ethan has had to tell me a million times, it is He Tastes Like You, Only Sweeter. But I had been singing forever, He Tastes Like Your Only Sweater. Or Tastes Like My Only Sweater. He tastes like... No, it is you. It's, yeah, tastes like your only sweater. And that's all I can hear.
Okay. All right.
Yep. And then 2 from my husband and his sister. Ethan swears every single time. Justin Timberlake's Cry Me a River. It has this part. It's like da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, something, I don't know. And he always sings along with it. Eagles don't wear pants. And I'm like, I don't even know what this guy's trying to say. But now all I can hear is Eagles don't wear pants. So, yeah, Cry Me a River. Is
he actually saying something in the song?
Yes, he is, but I don't know what it is. Because that's... Eagles don't wear pants?
They don't, but...
I don't know. And then the cutest one made poor little sister just bust out in tears because she was so heartbroken that she was so wrong for her entire life. We were in the car singing along to a Prince song. That song was Raspberry Beret. This kid had never heard of a beret. She doesn't know what a beret is. She doesn't wear hats. Nobody wears berets anymore unless you're in the military. So she had been singing her whole life, it was a raspberry parade. So she had in her brain that there were these cute little animated raspberries, like hopping along in a little parade down the road, and it was just the cutest little thing.
What the
And
hell?
she just like broke down bawling of like, oh my God, it's not this little cute parade. No, it's a hat. They're talking about a hat
What the hell is this?
from
Willy
a thrift store.
Wonka's? I mean,
I mean, yeah,
Raspberry
Prince was kind of
Parade.
out there, but
Yeah. Was she tripping on acid?
I don't know. But she had it in her head the whole time. It was a raspberry parade, which is, it's super sweet, but super wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. With these songs that we're discussing, we are going to release a Spotify playlist with all of these songs on it, so you guys can enjoy these and sing along with the inappropriate lyrics as well. Yay, crowd participation. I think we're gonna start releasing playlists that are based on our episodes from here on out, so that will be fun. On to autocorrects. The only one that I think of off the top of my head, I know there have been a million, but the worst one I've ever encountered was with my poor father. I brought shame and dishonor onto my family so hard with one text. It was when Duck Dynasty was the biggest thing around. I mean, it was everywhere. They had, my parent-in-laws still have the Uncle Si Elf on a Shelf. Like, they still bring that out for Christmas.
Oh my.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So CJ was big into Duck Dynasty when it first came out too, and we had to watch every single episode.
Damn right.
Yeah, it was not my favorite thing. It's just kind of just not my thing. But we were living together, and she was the only one that had a TV. So guess what we were watching?
Duck Dynasty on repeat.
Exactly, Duck Dynasty. So my dad had texted me asking what I was up to, and my reply should have said, "Oh, you'll be so proud," because him and my brother were like huge into Duck Dynasty too, and they've been telling me, "Oh, you guys, you gotta watch this." So I was telling him, "Oh, you'd be so proud. Courtney's finally got me to watch Duck Dynasty here in the living room." And instead, my phone fucked me over, and it changed Duck Dynasty from duck to fuck, and dynasty, it changed the D to an M. So it said, fuck my nasty, instead of Duck Dynasty. So, and essentially, I sent my father a text that said, "You'll be so proud of me. Me and my best friend are watching Fuck My Nasty in the living room." Like, and he just like, I'm pretty sure his reply was just like, ... tell me you're kidding. And so, of course, I had to send
I always knew there was something strange about CJ.
I know, right? We've been telling you for 13 years now that she is a bad influence. Actually, funny story, my first husband did, in fact, literally tell me that CJ was a bad influence and I wasn't allowed to hang out with her anymore.
Dude, get out of my head. I was seriously thinking about that this morning.
Were you?
Yes, I was thinking
Why?
about how back in the day, in high school, it was your boyfriend and my boyfriend both said that we shouldn't hang out with each other, but they both thought that the other one was the bad influence. So I was the bad influence for Chris's boyfriend, and then vice versa. And I don't know why I was thinking about that this morning. I was just like, how fucking stupid was that?
It was. Jokes on them. We're both a bad influence.
Yeah, on everybody.
On everyone we come in contact with.
Right.
Yep. Those people are fucked. Which includes you, our lovely audience.
Yes.
Yes.
Especially that girl in Singapore. I don't know if I said girl. It could be a guy, but, whatever.
I don't know why I just automatically assume that our listeners are female. I mean, other than the one in California and the one here in Tennessee that we know for a fact is not. I guess I assumed that we appeal to the fairer gender. I don't know. Who knows? But since that wraps up my stories, I do want to give some shout outs. We still have our one listener in Singapore, whatever gender you are identifying as. We have a listener in what was it? Belize? It wasn't Belize. Brazil.
Fancy.
At Rio Grande do Sul and the city of Santa Maria in Brazil. So yay. And our listenership is currently still in number 1 place, 31% Tennessee. It's our home base. Makes sense. Oregon is still up there in second with 29%. Don't know who's in Oregon, but I'm
baffled by that.
I know, I'm baffled. I am so excited. If you are in Oregon and you're listening to this, please reach out to us. We need to know who you are. Like, shoot us a DM, tweet us, whatever you need to do. I need to know. Roll call, hands up. Who are you? I need this. I live for this. Third right now with 19%. California is representing. Pretty sure that's my uncle in California or drunkle or family friend. I don't know what you're going to call him. He's something, but we love him.
Johnny Cherry.
Good old Johnny Cherry. Yep. So we're pretty sure that's him over in Visalia. Maybe not. I mean, it's 19%, so it's got to be more than just one person.
That's true.
That is true. So, thank you, California. Made it to Hollywood. What? Yep. And then
trusted Hollywood.
Right. Then we've got Virginia with 12%, Indiana with 2%, and then we get down into the less than 1%, which is probably like one listener, but we still have Michigan, of course, because of your family, North Carolina, Ohio, New Jersey, Illinois. Oh, we've made it up to Wisconsin now. And Massachusetts. That's exciting. Where are we at in Massachusetts? Canton.
Oh, yeah. I remember you said that last time. Canton. Yeah, because I'm like, I don't know anybody in New England.
No, me either. Who is it in Wisconsin? It's Milwaukee, yeah. Well, that's exciting. So thank you, everyone who listens. So shout out to everybody. Like I said, if you guys are, especially in Oregon, reach out. Even if you're not in Oregon and if you have stories for us, if you want to tell us how bad we suck and that we should put our head in the oven and jump off a bridge on Christmas Day, do that too. You can do that either through Facebook. You can find us on Twitter. I'm pretty sure we have, yes, you can find us on Instagram. You can reach out to our very own website, which you can get to through Facebook link as well. You can always shoot us an email at 2girls, the number 2, girls, the number 1, terriblepodcast@gmail.com. And of course, all of the wonderful listening platforms where you can find us, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, which I think Apple Podcasts and iTunes are the same thing now. They're doing some sort of merge thing. Also, if you have an Echo or a Dot or a Google Home, any of those things, you can just tell it, hey, Alexa, or hey, Google, play Remember That One Time. And guess what? Bam, our heavenly voices right there in your kitchen, in your bathroom, in your most intimate places in your home. We will invade.
We'll even talk to you while you're taking a dump if that's what you're into.
Oh, yeah, totally. We will coax that shit directly out of your anus. Come on out. You can do it. I believe in you. Just like that. And it is 100% free for your listening pleasure. But you know what's not free? The plan that we have to take some sort of pilgrimage to something that has yet to be planned but promises to be amazing. Also, Beer Olympics. Also, the our next cooking adventure, our Ribbed for Her Pleasure. These things are not free. However, if you like to still see awesome content like that brought to you, also derail for just a second. I got a camera for Christmas. Santa doesn't know I know, but I know. Yes. Got a camera for Christmas. So we're finally going to be able to get something better than 10 minutes of my iPhone before it dies footage. So
Sweet.
exactly. So I got that. But all of the other things like buying the food to prepare and everything does not come free. So if you feel it deep in your heart, it is the Christmas season. Be charitable and go to Anchor and you can donate to your favoriteest girls podcast right here. You can do that if you feel the need and want to do that to continue funding us. Also, like I said, we're planning some sort of awesome pilgrimage thing, so that could go towards that. All of the proceeds that we're making from the podcast, like all $2 that we've gotten so far, that will be going to that trip as well. Like I said, we have absolutely no plan. We usually don't even plan what the next topic for our next show is until we finish this episode. So there's no telling what that will be or what that budget may be, but it never hurts to start. So there, that is my pitch. And
That was a hell of a pitch. I
It
mean,
was.
if I wasn't us, I would totally donate to us.
well, yeah, I mean, there's nothing better that your money could go to. You need new socks? No, you don't. You can wrap some paper towels around your feet. Fuck you. You're donating.
Right.
I know that was a bit of a far stretch, but you know, I'm not a salesman. I am not a salesperson at all. I tried the Mary Kay thing
Ugh.
and it didn't work. So I can't do it. No can do.
Hey, have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? When CJ and I were trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions. How do I record an episode? How do I get my show into all the apps that people like to listen to? How do I make money from my podcast? The answer to every one of these questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use too. And now Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. We use Anchor because we live over an hour away and it brings us together as if we're in the same room. The sound quality is better than Skype and more reliable too. So if you've always wanted to start a podcast and make money doing so, go to anchor.fm/start. That's anchor.fm/start to join us and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. We can't wait to hear your podcast.
That's where we are. And CJ, what are some of your misheard stuff?
So my first one that I remember is the song Midnight in Montgomery by Alan Jackson. For some reason, it used to just creep me out as a kid, I guess because the video, it's talking about a ghost and stuff.
I know exactly where you're going with this.
Yeah. So there's a line in the song and it says, "A drunk man in a cowboy hat took me by surprise." What CJ heard was, "A drunk man in a cowboy hat took me to buy some fries."
Oh, I wish.
And I'm like, I mean, if someone wants to buy me fries, I don't care if he's drunk or sober. He can
Right?
be cowboy hat, hard hat. I don't
Okay.
care. Like, I make no mistake, I'm always down for potatoes in any form.
Right. Now, when you said John Anderson, I was thinking of a different song that I busted you on wrong lyrics when I lived with you. Do you know what I'm talking about?
And no, but I also didn't say John Anderson. I said Alan Jackson, but
Oh.
proceed.
Why do I get the two of them mixed up?
I don't know
I don't know.
because they're not at all the same.
No,
But okay.
not at all.
No, I don't remember this.
No, Seminole Wind.
Oh, wait, do I remember this?
Okay, so one, there's Alligators and the Gar, which I always thought was Alligators in the Dark.
Oh shit, so did I.
Yeah, well, it's Alligators
just
and
now.
the Gar. Until just now. This just happened live. Write it down.
Alligators and what?
You just witnessed this. Alligators and the Gar. Gar. It's a type of fish.
Are you sure?
I'm 1,000% positive. Because Ethan was like, alligators in the dark. What the hell are you talking about?
I mean, that's valid. He's talking about the damn swamps. There's alligators and it gets dark there sometimes. I mean, it's not a stretch.
It's alligators and the Gar. Yeah, it's like an alligator gar. There's another one in that song. You were like, you thought that the like it was set in like Oklahoma or something. Like you didn't get that it was set in the Everglades.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I don't think it was a specific lyric, was it? Maybe.
No, it was just the premise of the whole song because it was, I don't know. I don't know why. I heard Seminole and for some reason I went to Oklahoma, not Florida.
Considering Seminole is like a specific, not brand, what tribe, a brand of Native Americans. Yeah, a specific tribe, specifically to Florida in the specific Everglades. And it says way down south in the Everglades.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I just blocked that out. I don't know. In my defense, I was like 6 when that song came out, so.
Yeah, I'm like, there's not a whole lot of alligators in Oklahoma, but whatever.
That's a good point.
So yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to interject with that one, but as soon as you said
great.
Midnight Montgomery, for some reason, the other one hit me hard. So sorry, continue.
Well, it's better than what hit you hard last episode.
Yeah, true story. My bowels. Anyways.
So this one, the more I'm looking at this, I think this was actually you, and it got on my list, or I just happened to remember it. But
our stuff merges.
Yeah, it could have been either one of us on it, honestly. So the lyric is "Owner of a lonely heart," and we heard "Owner of a lonely fart."
No, but
if you fart a lot, you're going to be lonely because nobody wants to smell your rotten cheese ass.
Yeah, I think that one's you because my ex-husband was often caught singing "Owner of a Lonely Cart" while he was pushing buggies at the superstore he works at because he still only works like part-time at a superstore. So, but yeah, "Owner of a Lonely Cart" was something.
Oh. Yeah. Meanwhile, I was singing "Owner of a Lonely Fart." And then I know this one's both me and you. The lyric is "Hold me closer, tiny dancer," and we heard "Hold me closer, Tony Danza." But in our defense, I think a lot of people heard that.
Yeah, that one, and then it goes on with "I got head lice from this guy Ray."
Yeah, right.
Yes.
But I mean, I haven't really listened to the other lyrics of the song, but I'm like, why are you asking a tiny dancer to hold you closer? Like, I'm imagining a tiny nutcracker, and it's weird. Like, I'd rather Tony Danza hold me closer than a tiny nutcracker, but
I think it's more of a ballet dancer, like the tiny ballet dancers that are, ballet that are in the jewelry boxes when you open. I think that's what that's about. I don't know. I don't listen to Elton John much.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, but when it came to "Owner of a Lonely Heart," that one reminded me of in elementary school, almost every boy, when Backstreet Boys came out with "Quit Playing Games with My Heart," turned it to "Quit Playing Games or I'll Fart." Yeah.
That's still relevant.
It is.
And then, of course, there's the mother of all misheard lyrics. I can't even tell you what the real lyric is. It's the Lion King song. So
yes.
But what we heard was, "Oh my God, there's penguins in Nevada."
I totally forgot about that. You're right. Oh my God, there's penguins in Nevada.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, can you imagine?
The best.
I should Google that. Are there penguins in Nevada? What is it with all these animals and weird, like, we've gone from bison in the UK, alligators in Oklahoma, and penguins in Nevada?
I don't know. I mean, there's zoos, so I'm sure there's penguins in zoos in Nevada, but not like wild penguins in Nevada.
Yeah. So there's who sings this? I think it's Little Texas. The lyric is, "She's a good bass fisher and a dynamite kisser." And I heard, "She's a good ass fisher and a dynamite kisser." Well, and it's also worth mentioning that 8-year-old Courtney also thought she was kissing actual dynamite.
Oh.
So I'm like, you're about to blow up. Why you do this?
Right? Oh, just remind me. Okay, this one wasn't much of like a misheard thing as it was a misread thing. When we were playing, what is that game? Taboo. where you
Oh, yeah.
have like a word and you can't say like 5 of the other words, but you've got to try to explain to your partner what the word is
Yes.
without saying it. Well, it got to Ethan's grandmother's turn and she like flipped the card and she gasped and she was like, I'm not saying that in front of my grandchildren. She was like, I'm not describing that in front of God and everybody else. And Ethan was like, oh my God, what could this possibly be? Like, did somebody slip a card that said like, I don't know, clit or cunt or something? Like, what could this be? And he looked at it and he was like, what? What are you talking about, woman? And she hands him the card and goes, well, I don't know how to describe grab ass. The word was crabgrass. Oh my God, we died. We're like, one, why are you seeing grab ass? Because that
And
clearly
two,
says
what is so bad
crabgrass.
about grab ass? I mean,
Well, I mean, I've only heard her cuss a couple of times, and when she does, it's hysterical because it means that she has to be like really irritated. Like one time she was in the kitchen and she could not get her mixer to work. She was like starting to get mad, saying, somebody needs to get me a new mixer for Christmas because this thing is a piece of junk and everything. And then she gets really quiet, and a couple minutes later, out of nowhere, you hear, well, shit, Pam, it ain't even plugged in. So that's what that
Wow.
is. So that, well, shit, Pam. That was
That's
one of
it.
my favorite things I've ever heard.
Okay, so I have to interject this
Yes.
and do a throwback back to our the government CIA is listening,
Lord.
the guest thing that we did
Yeah.
with our friend Megan.
Yeah.
She just texted me and she said, oh my God, y'all. So you know how everything is listening? And I
Mhm.
said, yeah. And she said, well, I was having some issues last week and I couldn't go to the bathroom. And now all the problems are solved and my stomach is bubbling and it's go time. My Facebook just popped up with an ad for diarrhea medicine.
Oh my God. Because, and over here, we were talking about last episode's diarrhea problems too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She said, I think Facebook is listening to me have the boo-boos and was like, oh, she needs this.
Yes. Thank
So,
you, Zuckerberg,
yeah,
the real MVP.
if you ever think that it's not listening, it is.
Yeah. If you ever start feeling like you're completely alone in this world and nobody cares, Zuckerberg is always there for you. He is
Yeah.
listening.
He is listening to all of us.
Yes, I
What's up, dude?
refuse to believe that he's not just sitting in a room with a pair of headphones on, just scanning, because
Listening
he
for
is a
something real
robot.
good.
Yes.
So
Exactly.
this one is not a lyric, but somebody said, and I think this one's you too. I don't know how this. I don't know.
We are one.
I don't know. But someone said floor to ceiling windows, and I heard Florida ceiling windows, and I'm thinking, aren't those called skylights?
No, floor to ceiling windows. Was that recent? That sounds recent.
It is recent,
Okay.
but I honestly can't remember if it was me or you, or
No,
if
that
someone
was you.
said it, or yeah, Florida ceiling windows.
No.
And this one is this is a autocorrect fail. So I was texting one of my friends and she's pregnant, and I was trying to ask what her due date was, and it autocorrected to die date. What's your die
Yes.
date? I mean, it's the same thing, right?
I was gonna say, honestly, is the die date for her hopes and dreams.
I didn't even correct it. I was just like, I dug this grave. I'm just gonna lay down here.
Right.
There's no fixing that. Because she knows how I feel about kids. She was probably like, you stupid bitch. You meant it.
Right. Not everybody's gonna kill a fetus, okay?
Right. And I so wish I could remember exactly what happened. But back in my modeling days, I was texting with a photographer and I was trying to set up a session or something. And this guy, I had worked with him once before, and he kind of he didn't make a pass at me, but he made a comment, and I was just like, yeah, thanks, but no thanks. And I turned him down. And then I was texting him, and damn it, I wish I could remember what it was because it was so good. I mean, fucking autocorrect just obliterated me. It was like, not today, bitch, you gonna die. I mean, it
Yeah,
had the
I
word,
can't remember it either, but I know exactly what you're talking about
it
because
had
you
the
bragged
word,
about this autocorrect for like 6 years.
yeah, it had the word cunt in it.
Oh
Like
yeah.
it was bad, and it just gave him it was like a flashing green light for him. And I was backpedaling and trying to be like, I didn't mean to say that. And he was just not having it. He was like, no, you meant it. It's on. And I was like, I'm gonna cancel. And then I just like
Yeah.
ghosted him and never talked to him again.
Time to go.
This one is actually, I guess, more, I just can't read, I guess, or somebody had bad handwriting. But I had a patient and she was filling out her intake forms and she was a new patient. And it looked like her last name was Fartin, Fartin, Fartin. And so I'm like filling out her chart and everything. And I'm like, oh my God, this poor woman has gone through her whole life and her last name is Fartin. Like, can you imagine how much shit, no pun intended, how much shit she must have gotten when she was a kid having a last name Fartin? And so I went through the whole appointment thinking that her last name was Fartin. And then she came up to the front afterwards to pay, and I printed her out an itemized receipt, and she looked at it and she just died. I mean, she all but fell on the floor laughing, and I was like, what? And she was like, oh, honey, my last name is not Fartin. It's Sartin with an S. S-A-R.
Oh no.
And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't
Yeah,
want to
because
tell.
wasn't Doc like dying the whole time?
Yeah, I didn't want to tell her. I had been like contemplating her entire life for the past 45 minutes, like wondering how she's gotten through it and what kind of jokes the kids made when she was a kid, like all this stuff. And I was just like, I just tried to play it off like no big deal, like, oh, okay. Like I tried not to laugh, about bit a hole through my damn tongue. I was just
Uh-huh.
like, this is not happening.
Yeah, like that couple that came into my work one time that their name was spelled Sean and Catherine, but they were these hipsters that had on like these ridiculous overall things with just the epitome of West Nashville hipsters. They had a gold foil fanny pack and they were 20
Oh.
minutes late because the girl could not get their avocado toast correct. Yeah. That was that. And so it was spelled Sean and Catherine, but these insufferable people introduced themselves. Hi, we're Sean and Katrine. No, 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 you're
What?
not. You're Sean and Catherine. It is spelled Sean and then Catherine. Sean and Catherine. Oh no, it's pronounced Scene and Katrine.
Okay, literally,
Go home.
they're the worst people in the world,
Yeah.
and I hope they're listening, and I hope nobody ever gets your avocado toast correct for the rest of your life.
Right. I mean, what is the likelihood that you are going to be so obnoxious to call yourself Katrine that you find the second most obnoxious person who demands to be called Scene? Like, what
Like,
is the
honestly,
odds?
you're fucking made for each other. You really are.
Right, you deserve each other. Go enjoy your avocado toast somewhere else.
Scene and Katrine, like,
Yeah, heck out of here.
they deserve a kick to the teeth, I swear.
Yeah, for sure.
So, okay, this one's great. So, everybody knows that my husband Chris went to get a vasectomy a couple of years
Yes.
ago. And so obviously, you have to have the surgery and then you wait, I think it's 2 months, and then you have to give a sample and they test it to make sure that all the sperm are dead. And so we're anxiously awaiting this phone call from the doctor to give us the green light and say, yeah, you're good to go. So I'm standing in the grocery line, and I mean, he's one of those guys, he ain't never going to answer his phone. So anytime we go to the doctor or anywhere else that needs his phone number, he always gives them mine because he's like, I don't care, just talk to my secretary. And so they call and they're like, oh, we're calling for Chris. And I'm like, oh, well, this is his wife. And they're like, oh, it's Dr. Blah from the vasectomy office just calling with his results. And I was like, yeah, so? And the nurse is like, there's no trace of live sperm in the semen. And I said, so they're all dead? Every last one of them? And I'm standing in the grocery line, and so I've said, hello? Yes. So they're all dead, every last one of them? And
That's exciting.
looking at me like, what the actual fuck is she doing? And the doctor says yes, and I said, that's great news. And people are looking at me like I'm the head of a crime family, and I just had to explain everything to them because they're looking at me like they just couldn't stop staring. I had to tell them something.
No, that's when you drag it out, and then you're like, okay, well, you still have that hole, right? Like, do you have the 40 pounds of acid left? Do you have everything ready? I've got the shovel in the back. Or you should, oh my God, the next time you have that kind of conversation, you should be checking out with like duct tape and a shovel. Yes.
Oh man, if I would have just thought on my feet, I couldn't. It didn't even occur to me. So one of my coworkers was telling me that she finally watched The Blind Side, the movie. And she looked at me and she was like, it was really disappointing. And I said, why? It was a great movie. And she said, I kept waiting for him to go blind and he never did.
Oh no.
I was like, oh honey.
It's a good thing she's pretty.
Yeah. And last but not least, when me and Megan went to Texas, she's not a great flyer. She's a little scared of flying, and so she's had a couple of drinks and she's just nervous. And I think it was raining that day, and so we were delayed a little bit, and so just tensions were running high. We were wondering if we were gonna make our connecting flight and all that good stuff. And so we're sitting there and we're about to take off, and the captain comes over the PA and he says, cabin secure. And she flipped out, and I was like, what? That's a good thing. The cabin is secure. She thought he said captain scared.
Captain Scur.
Captain scared. Like he's going to get on the PA and announce to everyone that he's scared. I mean, like, if the captain's scared, you're just embrace it. You're going to die.
Right.
So
that's terrifying.
Yeah. So that's all I have.
Nice. Well, let's see. What did you learn?
What did I learn? Oh, I learned that there's 124 bison in the UK.
Oh, you took my what did you learn?
Oh, dang. I'm sorry.
It's all good. Well, I learned that CJ didn't even know, and so she learned that it's alligator and the gar and not alligators in the dark, and that there are no alligators in Oklahoma.
I'm literally going to look up gar because I don't think that's a word.
It is an alligator gar it's a fish. They have them at Bass Pro Shops.
Wait, are you saying it's one thing? I thought it was, so you're talking alligators and the gar.
And like the gar, yes. An alligator gar is a thing, but they can also just be shortened to gar. Like a gar is a fish. Garfish. They have gar in like I said, in the Bass Pro Shops. Like, okay, so the huge one in Memphis in the big triangle or the big pyramid, you know how like there's bridges everywhere and there's all of that water going underneath all the bridges with all the fish in it?
Yeah, I just went there like a month ago.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about, where the fish is in the water, in the floors. Yeah. Okay, there are gar in that water. I stood there and I watched gar swim underneath me.
Well,
gars are members of they're an ancient Holocene order of ray-finned fish. Fossils from this order are known from the late Jurassic onwards, so they're old-ass fish. Yes, you have spotted gar, alligator gar, short-nosed gar, long-nosed gar. So now you know. That is what we learned. That's what the whole audience learned.
Yes, exactly.
Congrats. So, next episode, we are going to go over band camp stories. Not specifically camp, but band stories altogether.
They're at band camp.
Yes, exactly. That's how everyone wants it to start, because there was a movie where she put a flute up her vag, and that's just really stuck with a lot of people.
You know what? It's 2 weeks till the next episode. Let them think that.
There you go.
Let them spend the next 2 weeks wondering which one of us actually did that.
That is something to contemplate. Yeah, we have got a multitude of stories because we were in band from 5th grade until, just recently we have not been Band-Aids. So, we were even technically in the band up until a couple years ago.
Yeah.
So we have got band stories up the wazoo. I know a ton of our listeners were band geeks as well. Feel free to send us your favorite band memories, your band stories. We can read those as well. And again, like I said, you can find us on all kinds of social media. Hit us up on Facebook. Thank you, as always, for listening. And Oregonians, hit me up.
Yes. And the
Yes.
Singapore lady.
Yeah, if you're still listening and you're still out there in Singapore, let us know how you found us. That's just absolutely amazing to me.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is like maybe they just got on Anchor or whatever and just like scrolled random shit and was like, hey, this is some random shit. I'm going to listen to it. I did that once.
Yeah,
And just
it's a good way to
listen-
find people.
Yeah, just listened to some random, it was like 2 dudes in Georgia talking about sports and drinking beer.
Nice. I like it.
I couldn't really relate to the sports thing, but I was like, I can relate to the drinking beer stuff.
Right? We still need to get our friend Megan's husband's brother does a podcast as well. We need to get him in on one of these calls and do a little bit of cross promotion sometime. That'll be fun. Yes. Okay. Well, as we say, always say yes to adventures, for they become stories, and in the end, that is all we are. Good night.
This concludes our broadcast day. Good night, and God bless America.